Hey there, Sean Beta, Sales Funnel Nerd. Welcome to this video today where we're going to talk about a little bit of webinar math, and I'm going to give you some tips to help get you through your first webinar. So as far as webinar math, there's three things that you need to understand and really pay important attention to here. So as far as webinar, so you put out some type of, whether it's an ad or post something to all the people that follow you on Facebook or YouTube, or however you attract attention or traffic and send it to your webinar registration page, you're going to have a percentage of that traffic that actually signs up. Right? So that's going to be your conversion rate on your webinar registration page. And out of those people who sign up for your webinar and confirm, there's going to be a discrepancy between that and how many people actually show up for your webinar. Right? And out of the people who show up, sit through the whole webinar, enjoy your presentation, listen to your transition and your close, hear your pitch, and actually go and buy, right? You're going to have a discrepancy between that as well. Right? Makes sense? I know it sounds a little complex, but it's really kind of easy. So if we look at like some sample metrics here. So if we get 100 people, out of all the people, all the traffic that we send to the registration page, we get 100 people. Normally we'd look at them as leads, but now in this case it's registrants for the webinar. So out of those leads, only 60 of them wind up attending. 40 of them just decide for whatever reason, I can't do it, don't want to go attend, something came up, got to take the kid to soccer practice, something happened, right? So 60 of them actually follow through. They get the notification right before the webinar and they're like, yep, I want to go check this out. So they go, they check it out and sit through, and out of those 60 people, let's say that you close one person, but if you're selling a $997 product, right? Even with that kind of rate, if you spent, say you spent money on traffic, say you spent $500 to get those 100 people to sign up, and you're selling a $997 product, you make one sale, then you just doubled your money, right? So that's the great thing about webinars, is because you've got these people on with you for so long that you can sell higher ticket items. And that's the point of it. I wouldn't see the point of running a webinar to go and sell like a $27 item. Not something that I would ever do. If you're going to do it, make sure you have a high price point. Now, as far as your webinar itself, the first time it can be nerve-wracking and, oh my gosh, put on a webinar, people are going to listen to me, what if they don't like me, all these kind of weird thoughts that you go through. Totally natural. I totally went through it as well. But the sooner that you go through, do your first webinar, get over it and realize, that like anything that's kind of scary, once you do it, it's really not as bad as you thought it was. And ultimately, just have fun with it. I'll tell you a story as far as why you should have fun with it and why these types of things, it's an adventure, so just go through with it. This guy I heard this, it was a sample lesson as far as perseverance, and so he's putting on this webinar, doing his presentation. He's got an audience of people, lots of people registered and showed up and are on the webinar, but there's one person on there who's as far as in the chat, and he's not there to enjoy the webinar and learn from it. He's actually being annoying. He's kind of taken away from the whole lesson for the other people. So the gentleman putting on the webinar, we'll call him Joe. Joe's putting on the webinar, and this guy, he's being annoying. He's distracting from the webinar. So Joe is the administrator of the webinar. So he's going to kick this guy off, this annoying guy. He's going to kick him off so that he can keep going. So instead of kicking this guy off the webinar, Joe winds up promoting this guy to being the administrator of the webinar. And then this guy, the annoying guy, then goes and kicks Joe off the webinar. So as far as make sure you have fun with it, because nothing could possibly be worse than that. I thought when I heard that story, I thought if that happened to me, I don't think I would ever go back and do a webinar ever again. That's, how humiliating. But the guy did go back and he did do more webinars and ultimately had huge success. And but just a funny story, and just as far as how things can go. Now, as far as getting rid of those jitters and whatnot, you can, I like to sit down and actually do a full run through. Just go through my slides and just pretend like there's people on the webinar and I'm doing my thing, and I go and I do a practice run, close the door of the office and just run through the whole thing. Also do like a test run of the technology, right? Just set up a pretend webinar time, something where you can have, if you've got another computer in the house or someone else who can attend, and just go and make sure that they can hear you and that everything works as far as the chat. Try it out. It's like getting a new vehicle and not going for a test drive before go pick up your friends and show them, right? You don't want to stall at a stoplight and embarrass yourself, so you want to go ahead and test things out, go for a test drive with your webinar technology, and just understand how it works, right? And the biggest thing for me overall is that I've learned is that go for high energy, right? And a good way to have high energy is to let the hands loose, right? Don't sit with your hands clasped. Don't put them on the table. Don't have them near the keyboard, holding the mouse, anything like that. Let the hands go. It will come through on your recording. Try to smile. People can hear. It sounds weird, but people can hear when you smile on the other end of your recording. But go through with, above all, just high energy for as long as you're on that presentation, and people will love it. Because if you're doing this kind of thing, like, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to click on this, and after that you want to click here, and then, right? It's no good. People are going to be just bailing left, right, and center. Got to have high energy. Let the arms loose, shake the fists, and people will love your presentation. All right? So that is your webinar math and tips lesson here for today. So go ahead and have some fun with yours. If you got your webinar done, do a practice run. Have a little fun with it, and have a good time. And I will see you in the next video.